This subject goes beyond publishing. The subject of publishing is about owning your own business. So I encourage anyone who can hear this announcement that you want to come up and hear Sister Valerie talk of her questions. There's a whole lot of you out here that talk about that you're writers. Learn how to write knowing. So in the next few minutes, we're going to bring this sister up here, and hopefully we will get some people to put an ear over here. Now, should I have this loud, or am I angry? Because I know I'm competing.
Right, all kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know if it should be directed outward or not.
I wish that, I don't want to interfere with their performance, but I wish that stage was on break.
Yeah.
I would promote it on that.
Yeah.
Back to a look real quick.
Peace and blessings. While we are waiting for our audience to come and show up, I just wanted, because we are recording this live and this is going out live, I want to first start in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, and greet everyone in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum, for my Hebrew brothers, Shalom, for my Kemetic brothers, Hotep, and for my Christian brothers and sisters, praise the Lord. And we are here at the 10th annual African American Cultural Festival, where we are celebrating our culture. And the beautiful thing about our culture is that it helps us to access our potential and power by reconnecting us with our God. And so today we have a series of lectures that will help us to reacquaint us with our culture, as opposed to the Western culture which we have been living and implementing and basically failing in. And so today we have a beautiful sister who, the acronym of her organization is POWER. Pen of the writer, power. And I think that there's a saying that the pen, right, is mightier than the sword. So when you think about it, when you put your thoughts on paper and you publish that in today's society, and you publish that thought, then that is a way for you and I to experience, if it's a well-written book, really eternal life. Because think about the writers that we read their material today. They may be passed on, but we know a little bit of their thinking and a little bit of the way that their society was structured at that time by what they wrote. Now, another thing that our sister is very good in is that when you do write a book, you want to make sure that you are not ripped off when you go to publish your book. And our sister is so good at helping us to understand not only how to write a book, how to structure a book, but also how to publish the book in a way that we can reach the maximum amount of audience and that we can reap the benefits of what we spent days and hours and sleepless nights working on. So with that, let me read a little bit about our sister bio. Best-selling author and award-winning publisher, Henry L. Coleman, services experts and professional speakers who want to magnify and monetize, now I like the monetize part, their message by publishing quality books. With over 15 years of experience in the book business, she has helped thousands of aspiring authors navigate the challenges of self-publishing. This expert deluge industry secrets on avoiding the top 5 mistakes made by new authors, pricing your book to sell, and identifying shady publishers. Her dynamic presentation and knowledge of the business takes writers from pen to paper to publish as they master self-publishing to make money. Valerie co-founded the Dayton Book Expo, the city's premier book event that connects authors and book lovers. And with that, I want to give a warm round of applause and bring on our sister Valerie Cole.
Yes.
Thank you. Can I adjust it down just a little bit? Good afternoon to the 10th Annual African American Cultural Festival, and I thank Brother Steve Muhammad for inviting me to be out here today.
Yes.
So, my mom told me, you never go to somebody else's house without bringing a gift. So I have gifts today, but to get a gift, you got to give me something in return. That's not really much of a gift, but that's how I'm giving gifts today.
All right.
So when you have the opportunity, I'm collecting emails. So Brother Steve, can you pass this out?
Sure.
Please print your name, email, and cell phone on the card, and then I'll be giving away some things later on at the end of, near the end of the presentation. I also have some handouts here. I should have gave those to you. Thank you, sir.
All right.
So I kind of wanted to poll the group and find out where you are in the process. Because what I do is serve professional speakers and experts to magnify and monetize their message by publishing quality books through my company, Pen of the Writer. So these are just a couple of the books that I have written to serve authors. And the company name is Pen of the Writer, which is my website, penofthewriter.com. Hey. And because I serve clients from the process of writing to publishing to marketing, I kind of wanted to get a feel for where you all are in the process. Does anybody in here a published author yet?
No,
Yes, no?
yet.
You working on it? Have you written anything?
Yes.
Is it in your mind or is it on paper? Okay. Yes, ma'am. You published a book? A poem? Well, congratulations for publishing a poem. Okay, so I want to talk about some of the common mistakes, but since we're in the writing process, let's focus on the writing. Because before you can move on to publishing, you have to have first written your book, right? What I find with a lot of authors, when they come to write their books, they don't have a plan in place. They just want to write. Sometimes writing is therapeutic. Sometimes they're writing because they want to leave inheritance for their family. I work with people who want to write to make money. Right? Because I need money to eat. I haven't quite figured out yet how to get by without money.
That's right.
If it ever should happen, that would be wonderful. But until it happens, I need that. So what I do is I help people understand the value of your message, who you're writing to, what your message is about, and then more specifically, what's going to make your story unique. There's over 10 million books on Amazon. 10 million, print and ebooks. So it's great to be on Amazon, but once you get on Amazon, how are you going to get people to buy your book? And a lot of that comes in while you're writing. What I find most authors tend to do, or writers tend to do, is they tend to write without thinking about the end result. What is my overall objective? So when you're writing, you always want to think about, at a minimum, what's your message? And be very specific on your message. Not just, I want to write a book to help people. That's very broad. People who are people overcome life issues? Are you going to help people who have dealt with the loss of a child? Are you going to help people wear the right color clothes? You know, what are you going to do when you go to help people? So you need to be very specific on what your theme is. And what I tell my clients is you should be able to state the purpose of your book in a couple sentences. In a couple sentences, you want to think about, if I'm in the elevator with my pie in the sky person, let's say it's Oprah for somebody.
Right.
And you're in the elevator with Oprah, you want to be able to convince her how wonderful and compelling your book is. You got the time that elevator goes to whatever floor it's going to go on, a couple seconds, maybe 15 seconds to convey your message to her. So you need to be very clear and concise on what message you want to say. The other thing that's very important when you're writing your book is to make sure that you know who you're writing to. I have clients who have written, I'm writing a children's book. Okay, so are you writing to young adults when you say children? Or are you writing to kids who need somebody to read to them? Because depending upon the age of the child, is indication as to whether you have more illustrations than you do words, or you have less words and more illustrations. Do you have, that also takes into account the way that you talk to the children. If your story is for a 3-year-old, the tone, the voice, the characters, the flow of the story is going to be very different than if you're writing to a 12-year-old. The other reason why you need to know who you're writing to is because it helps you position where you're going to sell your book. So if you don't know that if you think you're just writing to children and haven't identified you're writing to 3-year-olds, you may be going to the high schools and the junior highs trying to reach your kids, but your kids are actually in daycare and preschool. So you have to be very clear on who you're writing to. It helps to convey the voice and the flow of your message, and then how you're going to present that to them. And of course, if you're writing to 3-year-olds, you got to sell it mamas and grandmas on it. Right? The kids, although they may want it, they're not going to be the ones to buy it. So you got to make sure you're hitting and pulling on the hearts of their parents and grandparents. What's also important is not only who you're writing to, what message you're going to get to them, but what genre you're writing in. So it's not enough to say, I'm writing a book for everybody. Everybody's not going to buy your book. Everybody doesn't want your book. Everybody doesn't read. Everybody doesn't have a book. And those who do read and have the ability to buy the book doesn't mean they're going to necessarily want your book. It may not have value to them. So you need to be very clear on who you're writing to. But you also want to know then where those people are located. So if I know I'm writing to 9th graders, if I know I'm writing to young married women who are having challenges in their marriage, then I know that I might want to position myself to talk to a marriage therapist or get involved with some of the organizations that help counsel that group of people. So who you're writing to, what you're writing about, make sure that you identify your genre, fiction versus nonfiction. And within each of those subcategories, in each of those categories are subcategories. So within fiction, there's Christian fiction, there's young adult fiction, there's erotica, there's chick lit, there's mystery, sci-fi, paranormal. So you need to be clear on all of that when you're going to write your book. It helps again to position you in what you're writing, who you're writing to. Then in nonfiction, you've got tons of self-help, dictionaries, textbooks, inspirational books, poetry would typically fall under that. So you want to be very clear on who you're writing to, the genre you're writing, and then you have to identify what makes your book unique. Again, there's over 10 million books on Amazon, so why is yours going to stand out? Not because you wrote it, not because you're cute, not because you got a nice cover, not because the title is a standout title, but you have to be very clear on what's going to make your book unique. How is it going to stand out from all the other books on Amazon? So when I'm working with my clients, I'm always coaching them about with the end in mind. If your overall objective is not just to have a book, but to start having live events, maybe you want to start hosting conferences and workshops as a result of your book. Maybe you want to open up a speaker's platform. Maybe you want to have an online presence and sell merchandise and everything. Because the book is really just a door to open up opportunities for you. You need to be clear about that. So when I'm working with my experts as clients, what I do is I seed them and their expertise within the confines of the book. Not saying come buy my product or come visit me in my doctor's office, but subtle hints and clues and cues that represent them as experts. Ooh, thank you. Yes. That identify them as experts without saying, come see me, come buy my book, I'm the one. Like, if you think about subliminal messages, you drop subliminal messages in your book as an expert to position yourself to ask whatever the next is. So I know I have a half an hour. I can't get through all of this, but what I want to do is share time that I have allotted. Okay, and so for some of you, that's going to be enough. For others, you're going to want more. And for those of you who want more, I have an opportunity that I'm going to share at the end that you can have more with me. But you got to fill out those cards too. Y'all filling out those cards. Don't forget. Oh, Brother Steve, I got your information. You ain't getting it. Okay. So, your theme, overall message of your book, who you're writing your book to, the genre in which you're writing, and then what makes your book unique. Those are like the first things that you really want to spend time on. And it's not enough to say, again, I'm writing to everybody. It's like throwing rice on the wall and hoping something sticks. All of those things are important when it comes to developing your marketing strategy. There are 10 million books on Amazon, 9,999,992 are probably junk because the people haven't invested in editing, they haven't invested in a good cover, they haven't invested in marketing. So the things that you want to, those questions that you want to answer will help lead you towards the right process when it comes to marketing. It'll make marketing a lot easier. What I found is in the book business, writing takes about 10% of your time, energy, effort, and money. Publishing takes about 30% of your time, energy, effort, and money. And then marketing, which is all consuming or can be all consuming, takes about 60% of your time, energy, effort, and money. So you want to spend time up front working on your marketing strategy. How are you going to get the book to your readers? Are you going to do ebook, audio book, print book? Don't do hardback. Unless you're doing a textbook, don't do hardback. Let's just get that out there, because I have cousins, not literal cousins, but figurative cousins, who want to do hardback, because I've always wanted to do a book. If I do hardback, it's going to last forever, and it's just, there's no logic behind. Most people don't buy hardbacks. They're either doing softbacks or they're doing the Kindle. The other thing about hardbacks is it's more to print, so it's going to cost you more. It's going to cost you more to purchase it, which means you have to sell it for more. And with all the competition out there, if you have a $30 book and somebody else has a $10 book, unless you have the cure for the common cold or absolute way to make $1 million in your sleep overnight, for real, you're not going to sell it. Right? So you have to be very, very mindful of that. Come on in. Brother Steve has some handouts and the cards. I'm putting you to work, sir. Thank you. If you give me your name, email, and cell phone, I'm giving away a gift today. Yes. And then the handout, sheet handout, has some information on the back and a place for you to write notes if you so choose. So some of the clients, let me give you a little bit of history about some of the clients I've served. I've served PhDs, I've several PhDs, several medical doctors. My clients are experts, but then I've served people who we would maybe consider everyday people who are experts in what they're writing about. So one of my clients lost 4 children. She had 4 children die. And she wrote a book about the death of the last child and how that affected her life, her marriage, her family. And so she used her pain to become her purpose and to propel her into her passion and destiny. So now she's helping other people who have experienced the same thing. So she has a very specific audience. Not everyone has lost a child. Not everyone's necessarily going to buy a book about having lost a child. I have clients who have written books. Dr. Karen Townsend, who is from the Dayton area, her book, it all started when I stopped using lotion, One Woman Capitals, and her journey of going from chaos to calm. And in so doing, she said, well, Val, I realized it all started lotion. I said, well, ding, 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 check a winner, that's your title. And then we added the subtitle to it. So now for her, lotion is a metaphor for other women and all the things that we quit doing to take care of other people. So initially she stopped putting on lotion, and then she stopped taking baths and started taking showers, and then she stopped doing this and stopped doing that because she wasn't making time for herself and giving up time for everybody else. So part of what I do with my clients is help them to really understand the industry, to master the industry, the secrets of the industry, and then to be able to identify your expertise to position you for the optimal success. So I have clients who have been Amazon bestsellers multiple times. I have clients who have been bestsellers at the Dayton Book Expo. I have clients who have been bestsellers with their ebooks. Through Dan Pointer's system. I have clients who have been on national TV platform, ABC, NBC, CBS. So all of that came into putting out a quality product and then positioning them for success. Because if you have a great story, but you don't know how to tell it, or if you have a great story, you know how to tell it and you didn't publish it well, or if you have a great story, you know how to tell it, you published it well, but you don't know how to market it, your book is going to sit in your garage and collect dust and debris, and the pages will turn yellow on you. So it's important to make sure you have a good strategy. The other aspect of what I do for clients is I mentor them through the process of writing, publishing, and marketing. My preference is publishing. I am let's say a displaced engineer from Delphi. I was at Delphi for 26 years. When all those plants closed back in 2007, my job was one of the jobs that went away. No hablo español muy bien, so I was not moving to El Paso, Texas. I said, I've got to figure this thing out. So what I opted to do was use my problem-solving skills as an engineer and transition it to the book business. So I saved my clients thousands of dollars by helping them avoid the mistakes that common authors make. Sometimes I have clients who have paid $15,000 to publish 100 books. Now, I saw you right, like what? So that's $150 per book, her cost. Now, the only people I think would actually buy a book at $150 may have been her mom and dad. But then typically they want you to give them a book. You know, I need a book, you my baby, I'm so proud of you, give me a book. So you thinking that's $150. So what you want to do is position yourself so that your books don't cost you more than $2 or $3 a book to publish and print. If they cost more than $2 or $3 to print, then when you go to sell them, you're going to have a hard time selling in bookstores. It's the Sanders. They're up next. Talking about spouse splash. So you want to make sure that you have positioned yourself so that you're not overspending for books. I have another client who dealt with a company. There are a lot of shady companies out there, thousands of them literally. The publishing industry, with the advent of technology, it's easy now to publish a book. It's not so easy to publish a good book or a quality book, but it's easy to publish a book. So people are putting out junk. Have you ever picked up a book that had typos on it, the cover looked awful? Let me tell you something else. Here's another nugget. Do not put your face on the front cover of the book. I don't care how cute you look. Is Glamour Shots still around? I don't care if you get your hair did, your nails did, you got your makeup is on fleek. Is that what the kids say? Fleek. You got all that going on. You got this fly outfit and you fired. Don't put yourself on the front cover. Because all that says is this book is about me. And I have no care, concern, or consideration for what you need or what you're going through. So if you want to attract readers, you need to make sure that your book cover speaks to them and where they are and what they need, and not where you are and what you need. I've had a couple authors come to me with their covers, and one young lady was on the front cover, and she said, I know I'm not supposed to do it. After I said in your session, I know better, but I want you to see my book. It's me on the front. I said, that ain't you. She said, no, that's me. I said, that ain't you. Yeah, that's me. That's not you. Well, I've lost 50 pounds. So you put yourself on the book and don't look like the same person anymore. Right. Or if you spend all that money and get all this stuff done, and then when you got a book event, you look like you regularly look, normal self. And they're like, well, that ain't you. Yeah, that's me. No, that's not. It's me. So you want to make sure that when you write and publish your books, you're always thinking about the reader, the user. What is it that they want to get out of it? So like with the Goodie Box book. The Forbidden Secrets of the Goodie Box, relationship advice that your father didn't tell you and your mother didn't know. Now, this lady on the front, gentlemen feel some kind of way about her, but she is not pulling her skirt up, she's pulling her skirt down, okay? But when I had this cover designed, I told my graphics designer what I wanted out of the book. The book is really to empower women to make better relationship choices by understanding men, okay? And so yes, the Goodie Box is what you think it is. I don't have any pictures with me, but let's just say I never leave home without her. She's my close personal friend. She's been with me all my life. Okay? So this novel this is my best-selling novel. I've written about 8 books, but this is my only novel. It's my best-selling novel. But when I designed the cover to speak to the woman who was having issues with men, the woman who didn't understand men and was making those same type of relationship mistakes over and over again. I wrote this book to her. And so the gift on the front is an indication that she is precious. She is a gift. And then my designer put me on there. That was her idea. But I want women to understand the value of who they are. Not what they have to offer, but the value of who they are. So that's what the Goodie Box book is about. And even when you talk about the cover, like on the Self-Publishing Made Easy, even though, like I said, publishing is easy to do, it's not easy to do it well. Just like anything you do, like Steve is really great at video. He's got 3 cameras on me right now. But he's really great at what he does. But somebody else will come in and try to do this. They may not be able to do it quite so smoothly or have the equipment or the tools or the resources. So when you do something well, it looks easy. So what I've done is, with the Self-Publishing Made Easy, I wanted to be the cover. I wanted it to speak to something that was light and airy, not dark and gloomy. When you're picking your cover, you got to make sure that your cover colors convey the message you want to convey. So of course, the blue sky, the green grass, it looks light and airy, the white background, it helps to convey the message of easiness. Subliminally, I'm saying that this is easy with the image and with the colors. You have to be very clear about all that when you're going to publish your book. So there are a lot of small details and intricacies that if you're not knowledgeable and if you're not taking the time to find out these things, you're going to have a hard time with it. So one of the things I definitely recommend you do in preparation for writing your book, marketing your book, publishing your book, is learn the industry. And learn, don't just go on Google, because what you'll find is when you go on Google and put in book publishing or self-publishing, all the shady, shisty, no good people tend to pop up first because they made millions of dollars off of people who didn't know any better. So they're paying for those Google ads to pop up. So you want to go off a referral. You want to ask people about their experiences and be very clear that even though somebody says I had a great experience, that still doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. Just because they have a book doesn't mean it's a good book. They tell you I sold out. Okay, but what does sold out mean? You had a book event. I did so great. You know, on Facebook, everybody's living large. We know that, right?
Right.
Okay. So everybody's living large on Facebook. So they said, I went to this book signing and I sold out all my books. Well, all means nothing to me. I'm an engineer. So give me numbers. I need some facts. So what does all mean? Is that 5? Is that 50? Did you sell 500 books? If you sold 5, I'm not impressed.
Right.
But if you rely on that type of insight and information, then you get burned. And the other thing about that is you don't know what you don't know. So even though you may talk to people who have already done what you're trying to do, which is great, you want to make sure that the people you refer to and rely on and consult with have a proven track record. So people who have had great success, who maybe have been Amazon bestsellers multiple times, or people who have been in the newspaper. Have y'all seen me on TV before? I know y'all have, because I've been on Steven's show. Any other shows y'all seen me? Hi? Okay. So, you know, you want to be in front of the people. You want somebody who knows what they're doing. Because again, once you get the book in your hand, if you don't market it, it's just going to sit there and not make any progress. So the band is playing now. Hopefully y'all can still hear me, right? Oh, they marching this way. I'm gonna well, 5 minutes to let them slide on past. Okay, well, while they're sliding past, does anybody have any questions? Well, why don't y'all take some time to write some questions so then I can.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So if I write the book, what's the first process for me to even, what direction do I go to find how to publish?
So his question is, once I write the book, what's the next step in the process? The immediate next step is editing. You cannot edit your own book. You can't do it. Don't ask Pookie and Ray Ray and them to read it just because they like to read. If they are not skilled and proficient in the industry and the expectations for editing, they may tell you some stuff, but it may not be everything you need. So the first thing you want to do is edit. And when it comes to editing, when I work with my clients, I tell them there's 5 levels of editing. The first level is self-edit. Now that's when you go back and reread, make adjustments yourself. You want to go in and fix what you can fix and do what you can do. I caution you that that is not enough. Remember, I said 5. That's the first one. There's 5 of them. That's not going to be enough. The brain is so brilliant that if you have all the words, all the letters in a word, and they're scrambled up, but the first letter and the last letter are in the right place, your brain can still read that word. So in the Goodie Box book, I have a character by the name of Brian. At the end of the book, he became Brain. It was capitalized. It's an actual word. Microsoft Word didn't catch it, and every time I read it, it was Brian. But it wasn't until I paid a professional who was gifted in looking for those little small details that was brought to my attention, so I made that change. I didn't know what I didn't know. So you have self-edit. From self-editing, then you want to do a team edit. I call it a power team for my company, Pen of the Writer. You have a team of people who is either a couple proficient readers. Pookie and Ray Ray could be on your team, but you want them to tell you the honest truth and not try to spare your feelings. So you want a team of people. You need to have someone who's proficient in business and someone who's good in marketing so that they can assist you through this process. And what you do is bring them to your house. You need to feed them. If you're going to invite them over, feed them. If you can do it live. If you got to do it virtually, then, you know, send them a gift card or something. Put their name in the front of the book and acknowledge them. 2 more minutes? Okay. But then you also want to then have them read out loud so that they can give you the feedback that you need to make changes to your book. Then you want to pay. Now, then you start paying. You need to pay a developmental editor, who is the most expensive. Then you need to pay a copy editor. You think about newspaper copies. They're looking for facts and checking your statistics. And then lastly, you want to get a proofreader. Did you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. What if you got a story to tell but don't know how to write?
So you have a story to tell, but you don't know how to write it, yes. Or you don't know how to write?
Know how to write it.
Okay. Well, I asked that because I do have people who can't write. They have dyslexia or other, you know. But if you have a story to tell and don't know how to write it, one of the things I recommend is we can talk after, but you want to first figure out what it is you want to say, and then you can start jotting down ideas. Now, everybody composes differently. I compose by taking notes everywhere and putting my notes, then putting them in a computer. But you want to start out getting a chapter outline. There's a technique called the bubble map technique, which I list in the publishing book on writing. But the bubble map technique lets you take your ideas and put them in some kind of order to organize it so that you have a chapter outline. I see Brother Steve about to come up and pull on my Cool. So what I'm going to do is collect those cards, and I'll do the giveaway. I'll need your emails, cell phones, numbers, and names, and I'm going to be giving away something. But connect with me at my website, Pen of the Writer, P-E-N as an ink pen, penofthewriter.com, and we can connect and share more information with you about writing and publishing. But I'll give you my card and get your information while I'm here. All right. Thank you.
Let's give it up once again for our sister Valerie Coleman. And like I say, you know, there's nothing more important for us as a people than to get back into reading and writing. Now I want to introduce a very important subject, particularly in the African American community. When we talk about family, what we have to begin to understand that the basic root or the basic unit of any nation is family. If you don't have a solid family, it doesn't matter if you have a great economy, it doesn't matter if you have great hospitals, it doesn't matter if you have great this or that. If the family is not in order, eventually you will have the decay and the destruction and the implosion of that nation. So I am happy, and I'm going to be sitting down and listening very attentively because my wife is here and I want to keep the marriage strong and not be living outside on the street. So let us please give a warm round of applause to a beautiful couple, Brother Brian and Sister Monica Sanders.
Hello everyone, we're Brian and Monica Sanders, and we've been married for 5 years now. We are the creators of what we call Spouse Splash. You can check out our cards at spousesplash.com, www.spousesplash.com. We develop cards that will help couples communicate their love to each other. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but before we do that, we want to talk about relationships a little bit, like Brother Muhammad spoke about, because relationships are very important. It's a very important fabric to society.
That's right.
You know, men and women have lost millions because of broken relationships. Divorce is very costly. Losing your child is very costly. Child support is very costly.
That's right.
So relationships is a very important to our community. Monica and I have a sign in our bedroom that says happiness is being married to your best friend.
That's right. Right.
Well, if happiness is being married to your best friend, then is it true to say that sadness is being married to someone you don't want to be married to?
Come on. Right.
And how does it get that way? Because it didn't start out that way. It started out as you were both attracted to each other, right? Nobody gets into a relationship, a long-term relationship or marriage, because they thought the other person was unattractive or they didn't like them. But something happens in the journey. Something happens in the journey. Before I get into that, I'll let Monica speak.
All right.
Again, we're here to talk about relationships, but I think it's important to know, oftentimes people are always looking to get in. It's important to have a relationship with yourself. I'm a firm believer that it's important that you have to do the work to love yourself first. Because if you don't love yourself first, then it's hard to love someone else. Brian used to tell me all the time after we got married, I did a lot of work prior to us being married, but he would always say the best thing that you can do is love yourself, because when you love yourself, you can love me, you can love others. And so for me, before I met Brian, I did a lot of work because I saw where I was failing in relationships. But the other part to that is that I was with individuals that wasn't necessarily individuals that were for me. And because I wasn't whole and healthy, I was making bad choices. I just got to the point where I had to get very intentional and do the work and begin to love myself. And whether that's therapy, whether that's finding empowerment groups, whatever it is that you need to do to get whole. I know I keep going back to that, but that's so important. So again, I just want to make sure I'm clear on that. Before you can get in a relationship, you gotta love yourself.
That's right. And so, let's go to the beginning of relationships. All right. We see each other, we like each other, we have those long telephone conversations, we're on the phone and we can't get off the phone. I hang up, you hang up, after you hang up. Right. But then, 6 months later, a year later, you come home and you move in together, you're living together, you're married, what have you, and now you don't even hardly speak to each other. You come in, hi. So life kind of gets in the way. What's for dinner? Did you pay the bills? Did you remember to go pay the DP&L? Honey, did you cook dinner? There's nothing to eat. I've been gone all day. And so we kind of get in the routine of just coming home and going through the motions, and we don't take the time out to rejuvenate, to refresh, to water. So that's what SpouseSplash.com, that's what SpouseSplash is. SpouseSplash is watering your spouse with your words. Right. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Come on. There's been a study that you can take and put plants in a jar or in a bucket, what have you, or even water with ice. Studies that you can taken your words and spoke kind words to one plant and then say nothing to the second plant and then speak negative words to the third plant. Right. And do you know that it comes out that the one that you speak the life to, it remains healthy, it remains whole, it has life after a period of time. And then the one that you don't speak to, it kind of starts to decay a little bit and it's not healthy. But the one that you speak death to, it becomes full of decay. So it's evidence that life and death is in the power of the tongue. Do you think that when we speak to our kids and we raise our kids, if we say positive things to our kids, it's going to affect them in the long run? We're either going to build them up or we're going to tear them down. Well, that same thing happens in relationships. If we don't say anything, and if we know if we say negative things, it's not going to work. Sooner or later, it's going to tear up and destroy, right? So we have to speak positive words to our spouses.
And that's why, again, it goes back to being whole and healthy. You have to speak life to yourself. I am healthy. I am loving. I am kind. Again, just speaking those things to you, because Brian and I, when we got together, again, I got very intentional in regards to what I would accept and what I wouldn't accept. And so I knew, again, when we got together, on our second date, I asked Brian what was his intention, because I wasn't going to waste my time just being there and us going through the motions. So you have to get very intentional in terms of what you want in a relationship. And what Brian was talking about, is Dr. Emito, and he basically took rice, and there was 3 different types of rice. You had one rice that you spoke life to, the other one that you ignored, and the other one that you spoke negative to. And the white rice, the one rice that you spoke positive to, it remains fresh. The other one that was ignored turned dark, and the other one that was talked negatively to, again, that turned dark as well. So again, that's what Brian was saying. You have to speak life into each other. So,
when we watch TV, we see comedians make jokes about the opposite sex, about their wives or their husbands, and we tend to do that ourselves. We say, if being ugly was a contest, my wife would be the Super Bowl champion. And it's like everybody laughs. We laugh at that now. And we've created a culture that, you know, to speak negative about your spouse, your husband or your wife, and it's just funny, you know. If it came to cleaning up the house, you know, my wife would be a 99 place out of 100. You know, it's just, it's ridiculous the things that we say, and then when we say that to our friends, and we can make that a habit, sooner or later, that's going to get back to your wife or your husband. And it's going to cause damage. They're not going to believe in you. It's going to hurt, and it's going to tear the fabric of your relationship.
Another thing that Brian and I was talking about, you know, when you get married, you say your vows and you're happy and life is good, but then things start happening. And so that's why it's very important to do things together, perhaps a hobby, because oftentimes the husband or the wife will say, you know, no, you go ahead and go and you do your own thing. That one time becomes the second time, the third time, and before you know it, you're divided. So I know I keep going back to intention, but you have to be intentional, especially if that's what you want in your heart. If you want to be in a relationship, you have to be intentional about keeping that thing together. I know when I'm around people and they're talking about their wives or their husbands, I want no part of it, because again, it's just important to stay connected, to have that beautiful thing that we all want. We all want to be loved. It goes to that core foundation of love.
Okay, let's go to the home scene. You're at home and your wife wants to do something that you don't want to do, or you want to do something that she doesn't want to do, and you have to make a decision. And you make that decision, and then a little bit, a root of anger or bitterness or questioning comes into the heart, and what happens? It becomes a snowball. One little difference. We all have differences. Everybody has differences. So we have different opinions. We have different ideas, and we have to respect each other's differences for our relationships to work. Right. Because sometimes we have to back down and throw in the white flag and come into an agreement to compromise. Because if you don't, then it's going to snowball. And next thing you know, you're cussing each other out. You're saying negative things about each other. You're cussing each other out. You're leaving. And then if you let that go on and on, you know, hours become days. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. Right. What would you say, Monica, would be some do's and don'ts to stop the snowball effect of the negative decisions and differences?
My husband is the most important relationship. So for me personally, I don't want to go the whole day with being upset with my husband and then going to work and being nice to all of my coworkers. It just takes a lot of energy out of you when you hold that grudge. I know I had a coworker of mine say that her and her husband didn't speak for 3 days. And I think to where, you know, we're all going to leave this place. And to where, you know, if Brian was to leave, those are 3 days that I wished I could have back. And so, me personally, I just don't like carrying that weight. And it just, it wears on you. I've seen where it happened to a few of my loved ones where they can't sleep at night because they're still holding on to grudges and anger because of what their loved one did to them. And so again, it's just a matter of just getting in a place of saying, I'm not going to live like that. Because my husband, we made our vows, we set our vows together that we would be together. And I can't remember all the vows now, but you know those vows. But through sickness and health. And so my number one priority is to my husband outside of God. But it's important for us to stay connected, because again, it just doesn't do you any good to carry that anger. So for me, just get back to that place of love. And to say I'm sorry. I'm quick to say I'm sorry. But Brian will do that as well. So it's not one-sided. We've gotten to a place to where I can say I'm sorry, and I can say it quickly. So that's a big thing.
All right, how many have kids? You know, our kids go outside and when they're young and they play in the dirt and they come in and they're just real dirty. Sometimes as grown-ups, we might work on a car and we get that real dirt on us and we know we have to take a bath. But sometimes through the day, we don't really get real dirty, but we still have to take a shower and still take a bath and wash up, right? No matter what you do during the day, you still got to take a bath. If I said, oh, I didn't do nothing all week, so I don't have to take a shower all week, that won't fly. Because dirt is going to get on you whether you can just be laying in a bed and you're still going to get dirty and stinky. But the same thing happens in relationships. The trials of life, daily life, your relationship is going to get dirty. And you have to take a proactive action to wash your spouse, to wash your lover. Because if you don't, that dirt is going to carry over and then it's going to begin to stink. And then they're going to begin to say things that you don't like and it's going to, again, snowball. So you have to wash your spouse with your words. Now, how many of you heard about the 5 love languages? About half. So there's a book called The 5 Love Languages. You can go online and take the 5 love languages test, and it will show you your communication style, your love communication style. So there's 5 parts. One part is touch. Mine is touch. I like to be touched. I like to touch to communicate my love. I say, hey, how you doing? So touch. My dad is a brawny man and touch. We used to wrestle. I love all of our family love wrestle. So my love communication is touch. Monica's is
My love language is acts of service. So whenever I see Brian doing laundry for me or vacuuming the floor or running to the store for me, that's my love language. Then you have gifts. Gifts is where people just love to receive gifts. And you also have quality time where you just spend one-on-one time with each other. And then the last one, words of affirmation. So Brian, you look very nice today. You're so handsome to me. And so when we talk about Spouse Flash, the cards that we created, that incorporates 3 of the love languages. And I would encourage you all to go online and take the quiz, because oftentimes when people get together and they don't know what their spouse's or their partner's love language is, I had to learn, again, that Brian's was touch. And so when I would give him words of affirmation or gifts, it wasn't hitting the mark for him. And so touch was kind of low on my scale. So I had to really learn how to do that. And for me, acts of service. So again, incorporating those 2 things have really brought us together. You can even do this for your children. I know my stepdaughter, hers is quality time. It's only like 5 or 10 questions. And so I know she just loves to spend time with us and even with her dad. So again, I would encourage you all to do that as well. Oh, did I say, I'm sorry. So the spouse flash cards, it includes 3 of the 5 love languages. Quality time, words of affirmation, and physical touch.
So again, we developed these cards called Spouse Splash. Spouse Splash. So it's not taking a bath. It's watering your spouse with your words. Because a lot of times, you know, men and women, and specifically men, we go to seminars or we'll hear a preacher or a speaker say what men ought to do. And a lot of us, we don't know what to do. We want to do what you're saying, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know what words to say. I don't know how to incorporate that touch into my life, make it a habit. I might do it once or twice a year, but to make it a regular part of my life, sometimes we just don't know how to do that. So that's what Spouse Flash is about. Spouse Flash will help the men to communicate these different love languages. So the first part of Spouse Flash is an activity. And the activity, it incorporates touch on every activity. So one might be holding hands, one could be holding the ear, the face, touching the face, neck, arms, rubbing with oil. And then each card will show you and tell you what to do. It's very simple and very effective. And it only takes a minute per time, per occurrence. You can do it daily or on a regular basis. But you do want to do this on a regular basis because, lots of times, men go to the counselor and tell the counselor, well, I do everything I know to do. I buy her birthday gifts. I buy her flowers on Valentine's Day. I buy her gifts on Christmas. We go out to dinner on New Year's Eve, and the counselor will tell you, doing those things 4 times a year is good, but it's not going to be good enough. It's not going to sustain and maintain your love. You have to invest in your love on a regular, ongoing basis, on almost daily. And you have to be very intentional. So that's what the spouse splash cards will do, will help you. So it makes it easy. So first part, again, it has the activity. The second part is, to me, is the bonus language. The bonus language is eye-to-eye contact. So there's a new way going out where they have loved ones that they don't even have to be in a relationship. It could be father and son, mother and daughter, grandparents. And they just simply look at each other in the eye to eye, for about a minute or two. And some of the emotions that come through you by looking in your loved one's eyes, it's real. So it's a 6 love language. So this incorporates eye contact as well. So that's the activity. I'll tell you what to do. The next part is the affirmation. We'll talk about the affirmation. So the affirmation is speaking words of life, words of hope. It's talking about the future. Speaking words to your spouse about the future, like, honey, you're going to do great. You're going to get the job. You're doing good in school. You're being a good parent. So it's talking about the future. It's talking about the present. It's talking about the past. So the affirmations is right here on here. And these cards are only, a deck of cards are only $12. You can order these online, www.spousesplash.com. And if you want to get them today, we can give them to you at a discounted price. So www.spousesplash.com, $12. So again, you have the affirmation. Then after the affirmation, you have the closing. The closing is pretty much all the same. The closing is, I love you, and you insert your name or nickname it, and be creative with the nickname. Begin to, just be creative and have fun with it. And then you end with the kiss. So we're going to pick one of these cards, and we're going to demonstrate for you. Is there any couples out there? I think we got a couple right here. Okay, so you're going to volunteer, right? Yes, you are. Voluntold, right? So you're going to come up and do it one next, okay? So we're going to demonstrate it first, and we'll let you look through these cards and see which one, look at these affirmations and see which one you're kind of comfortable with, and then you'll come up after we do ours. So ours is, the activity says, hold hands. Oh, this one says, get on one knee and look eye to eye. So I think since we have cameras, I don't think we're prepared to get on one knee, so I'll just do the hold hands and look eye to eye. You can change the activity that you have now and in the future. We do this at home. And another thing I want to point out before I forget, you have to demonstrate and express your love in front of others. A lot of times, the only time we get to express our love is at our weddings. And then after that, we don't really get to express our love in front of others. But expressing your love in front of others, it has power. And it feeds your partner. It feeds your lover. It's something that you should do, incorporate into your relationship, is expressing your love in front of others. So again, Spouse Splash will help you express your love in front of others, but you also do this in private as well. So this card says, the activity says, hold hands, look eye to eye, look eye to eye. The second part is the affirmation. Affirmation on this one says, I will always blank. And on the blank, you just simply speak from your heart, whatever's in your heart to speak. Past, present, future, dream, beauty, just whatever's in your heart. There's no right or wrong. And then the third part, I love you, name and nickname and kiss. So ours is I will always.
Brian, I will always be true to you. I will always be faithful. I will always meet your needs. I will always love you. I will always be there for you. I will always make you your favorite meal. I will always just look into your eyes and let you know how much I love you, that I love you unconditionally. I love you, Brian.
Thank you. Okay. Monica, I will always be faithful to you. I will always do whatever I can that's in my power to protect you, to love you, and look out for you, do what's best for you and our family. I will always go to work and be a provider for our family. I will always have our family in my mind, in the forefront of all of my activities, because our family is very important to me. I will keep it as the best interest of my heart. I will always look into your eyes and try to make you feel good, feel wonderful, feel loved, feel beautiful. I will always encourage you. I will be with you through sickness and health, richer or poor, to death do we part. I will always care for you. I will always be kind. I will always be patient. I will always be forgiving. I will always ask for forgiveness when I have done wrong. I love you, Mojay. That is what we call spouse splash. Easy, yet effective. So you can have Muhammad and his wife come forward, demonstrate spouse splash.
And while they're coming up, just when Brian speaks that to me, so when we talk about the rice and the water and the plants, when he speaks that to me, it penetrates into my soul. And so doing the same for him, I wanted to penetrate into his soul, for him to know that what we have is a good thing, and just having that as we move into the future.
Ours is the activity is generally caress your spouse's face and look eye to eye. Now do I caress her face? Yeah. Okay, just over the hand. Okay, all right then. I'm grateful for everything that you do for me and for standing by me and for everything you do.
I am grateful that you like my singing.
That's my thing.
I am grateful that you listen to my singing. And that you love my cooking. That and then we do things together, even after you work hard all day. Oh, and I love you, my baby.
Love you too.
So just in seeing that, can you see the love that translates between couples when they do that? Just watching her light up. It's just a beautiful thing. So it's just important to pour into each other.
Just remember that spouse splash is just a tool to help. It doesn't create, but it helps. So we got a question in the audience.
Can you comment on how the touching is non-sexual?
Yes, the touching is, we had a question or comment that the touching is non-sexual. So you know, relationships is more than just sex. You have to make love to your spouse, your partner, mentally and physically and spiritually. So that's how different love languages come into play, is that it's not all just about sex, but it's about making love to their mind, love to their soul, something that's going to give them energy. And then when those men try to come and talk to her later on in the day, she has something that she can stand on. She has a foundation. You've given her words of affirmation, words of love that she can stand on and be sure of. And her boat is solid and sealed. It's not leaking, and it won't, so she won't drown.
And I'll say this in closing. Again, this isn't just with your spouse. We do this with our family. We get in a circle and we just go around and we take turns speaking life and love into our children. So again, it's important because, like it was said earlier, it's the foundation. So it starts from the ground up. So it's not for Brian and I, it's for our family members too. So that's important to note as well.
Again, lastly, www.spousesplash.com. Thank you.
And please don't hesitate to get with them after this. And I'm going to definitely get my cards before you go. And so we had our sister Valerie Coleman, and hers was on writing a book, and one of the books was the goodie box, and that led right into our beautiful couple, Brother Brian and Sister Monica Sanders, which is going to lead into really another good aspect because what is that saying? Romance without finance. So now we're going to talk about Pathways Business and Workforce Development Initiative. And we have them bringing up the poster. And just to go into a little bit about this, first of all, our presenters will be Sister Belinda Stinson, Sister Yvette Kelly Fields, and Brother Don Eric Black, all of which I know, and they are very beautiful people. The Pathways Program, a business and workforce development initiative meant to build a pipeline of high-performing businesses and create jobs. The program is designed to stimulate economic growth by helping startups and small businesses with workforce development needs. Three local organizations, the Greater Dayton Minority Business Assistance Center, the Minority Business Partnership, and the Wesley Community Center, revived funding through the Key Bank Business Boost and Build program powered by Jumpstart, a Cleveland-based nonprofit. So with that, I want us all to please listen attentively as we learn about business development, because just as we were talking about family, just as we were talking about writing a book, we definitely know in our community that we need to develop businesses that will once again employ our children, take our children off the streets, and make our communities a productive and safe place to live. So let us please give them a warm and we bring them forward.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. How many of you own a business or want to grow a business or want to start a business? Great, thank you. How many of you are looking for employment? You want a new job? You want a better job? Okay, great. We got some people that are looking for jobs as well. As Brother Steve said, we are a workforce and small business development initiative. In May of this year, we started a partnership with Key Bank Business Boost and Build powered by Jumpstart, and they granted us money so that we could provide resources in our community to help individuals find a job, enhance their skills, and get a better job, as well as small business development. I do not want our people to ever say, I have a vision for a business, but I don't know where to start. I don't know who can help me. Today, we're going to talk about several organizations. We're going to talk about the Minority Business Partnership, which is a program at the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce. We're going to talk about the Wesley Community Center and the Minority Business Assistance Center. And the Minority Business Assistance Center, which we refer to as MBAC, is housed at the City of Dayton. So I want you to know that those are our 3 core partners, but we have other folks and other organizations in this region that will also support you. From a workforce development perspective, Yvette will talk to you about the skills and the training that we will be providing. But let me talk to you about small business development. In the Minority Business Partnership, we talk about 3 critical things for a successful business. First of all, you got to have access to technical assistance. If you need a business plan, a strategic plan, you need to provide that information to folks that want to do business with you. So if you need support and assistance in developing a business plan, the Minority Business Assistance Center, the Miami Valley Community Action Partnership, the Minority Business Partnership, and the Small Business Development Center will support you in those efforts. If you need access to contracts, at the Minority Business Partnership, we work with the 29 largest buy-in organizations in this region, whether it's Kettering Health, Premier Health, Care Source, Dayton Children's Hospital, the city, the county, Dayton Public Schools, the Dayton Metro Library. So all of those organizations we work with to help identify contracting opportunities for minority-owned businesses. We also talk about access to capital. How many of you that have started a business, you have needed access to capital and you went to the bank and for some reason they would not approve your loan? All of those organizations, those small business development organizations, will work with you if it's to improve your credit score, to complete the application, to find the right lender that will support your vision and your business. We will work with you to support and identify resources to help grow your business. Additionally, what we started with the Pathways program is about connecting small businesses with workforce. A survey was done among small businesses about 2 months ago. And when asked, what is the biggest challenge you have as a small business? What do you think small businesses said? What do you think? Any ideas, any thoughts? When I heard it, I thought people would say, oh, they're going to talk about access to capital. They can't find the funding to help them grow their business. Or the tax structure. The number one challenge that small businesses identified was recruiting and retaining employees. Recruiting and retaining employees. Where do I find good quality employees? Where do I find talent? If you've been reading the Dayton Daily News or any other paper that you pick up, you will see that the number one conversation is about workforce. I actually went to a gubernatorial candidate town hall on Thursday. Both candidate Cordray and DeWine, both of them, they spent probably half of their time talking about what they were going to do to make the state of Ohio a state where people and businesses wanted to locate. They're discovering that businesses are not trying to come to Ohio because we do not have the talent, we do not have the workforce available for businesses like Amazon, some of the larger companies. We have to change that. So we as a group are really going out into our community, the African American community, the Hispanic community, the Native American community, the Asian community, to talk about job opportunities and what can be done to help individuals improve their skills so that they can get something in the payday. I can't remember the name. Bear said we have 400 jobs that we can't fill. What are we going to do to prepare our community? How many of you know people that are not employed? They don't have a job or they're underemployed. Please share this information with those individuals so that they can connect with us and we can work with them to build their skill sets, to make those connections to those employers. I'm going to ask Yvette Kelly-Fields. She's the Executive Director for the Wesley Community Center. She's going to come up and talk about the services that she and her organization provides to help people prepare for a job. Yvette?
As a result of the work of the Wesley Community Center working with low-income individuals who have suspended licenses, no skills, child care issues, transportation issues, we have been able to put 86 people to work. Because of our services, where we work with Community Action Partnership and Human Relations Council, as well as the Dakota Center, we have been able to offer workforce development solutions for people almost no matter what their situation. The question I asked everybody here today, who do you know who could use that kind of support?
Yes, that's right.
This partnership is going to allow us to connect people who have been locked out of opportunity due to not having the right connection, not having the right skill set, not having the right access to resources and tools to be connected not to just jobs, but to high wage paying better than minimum wage jobs. One of the issues that we have seen happen in our community is that many people, because of things like a suspended driver's license, because of things of lack of transportation, because of child care issues, they have difficulty accessing even basic skill jobs. Further, because we know that the educational systems has sometimes not always provided a fair opportunity, we are here to hit the reset button on that for them. Through this partnership, we will be able to help emerging and starting small businesses be sourced with people that will be committed to showing up to work every day, prepared to put in a good 8 to 12 hours a day, who are also able to deliver a quality service to the employers. We're excited about this opportunity because this not only allows for small and emerging businesses to begin, but for small and emerging businesses in West Dayton to happen. We recognize that there are not enough services targeted towards small and minority businesses, particularly over in West Dayton, where you can get access to those resources. Through this partnership, and that's Don Eric Black is going to be talking about, we will be able to connect people who have thought about starting a business but did not know how to get to it. Thought about starting a business, went to the resources they thought would help them start a business. It did not work out. They found themselves clueless and discouraged and frustrated. We want to be a part of helping to lift them up and say, come back, try it again. This partnership is going to allow us to do so. If you know someone who is looking to start a small business or who is looking to come into the workforce in these emerging businesses, they can call 937-263-3556, extension 211 or extension 212. Again, 937-263-3556, extension 211-212. You will reach a case management person who is a specialist who will bring you in. They will talk through all your different needs and barriers. They will work with you to remove every barrier to employment until you are gainfully employed. And if you want, we'll work with you for up to 2 years after to continue to help you maintain stability. Further, if you're a person that says, I want to go back to school, but I do not have the money. I know I want to be skilled in culinary. I know I want to be skilled in nursing. I know I want to be skilled in doing things in computer and IT. We are working with the Job Center and over there with Marvina Mitchell as well as Michael Colbert, along with this partnership where there are dollars available for training. You simply must come to Wesley Community Center and we will work to connect you. You might say, well, you bet I'm not. We're Wesley Community Center. That's okay. We are in partnership with Omega CDC, Miami Valley Urban League. If you are closer to those organizations, please go there first. They will bring you into the circle and you will get services that way. You bet. I live in the East End. Does that leave me out? No, it does not. You can go to East End Community Services. They will bring you into the circle. This is designed for anybody who's looking for a better opportunity to make things happen in your life. You should not be left out, and we're here to bring you in.
All right. Yeah. That's right.
John Eric said it sounds like Yvette is running for office, and I think she has all of your votes. Thank you, Yvette. It is so important that we get connected. Enough of saying, I don't know where to find it. We have the resources in our community. Next, I'm going to ask Don Eric to come up. Most of you probably know Don Eric. His daddy runs the Dayton Weekly. He's going to talk about some additional services for small businesses.
All right.
Thank you. As has been stated, my name is Don Eric Black. I am with Jasper Brown Consultants. We provide hands-on, one-to-one advising for small businesses. Not just every small business. Although we do work with every small business, our focus is businesses in the low to moderate income areas of our community. And the reason is this. A lot of those businesses in our community are good businesses, but they just don't look like good businesses on paper.
Right.
So what we try to do is go in, roll up our sleeves, and work with them within their business so that we can provide them with the skills and the technical assistance that they need so that they can go in and leverage those banking opportunities. It's important for us as African American businesses to have access to capital. As anyone who's ever been in business knows, the only way you can grow is if you have access to capital, banking relationships. So through some of our work that we've done with the NCRC and through the CRA requirements that banks have within the community, we found that banks are for-profit institutions.
Right.
The only way they make money is to give out money and have that money repaid, and they make money on that interest. So regardless of what the banks say, they're only going to move their criteria so much.
Right.
All right. So as small businesses and minority communities, we need to realize this. So instead of beating the banks up to try and get them to change their business model, we put a program together that allowed us to go in and forensically work with these small businesses to make them better businesses, to help them shore up their practices. At the end of the day, we look at every facet of that business. We work with them on their business plan, on their strategic plan, their business model, who their customer is, sales, marketing, human resource, every single aspect of the business so that that business can become more efficient. Credit analysis. These are all things that the banks are going to need to know about your business in order to lend you money. So the goal is, through our 10-week workshop and our one-on-one consultation, we want you to come out as a better business with better business practices, a clearer line to profitability, so that when you go to that bank and you say, I need a loan so I can buy a building, or I need a loan to add another product, or I need a loan to grow my business, and they say, well, what's your credit score? You meet that criteria. Do you have a balance sheet? You meet that criteria. What's your profit and loss? You meet that criteria. We want to make sure that you have access to these banking opportunities for growth. So we work really hard to provide very basic one-to-one services. We have workshops. It's a 10-week workshop. So if you're a small business or you know someone that has a small business, I'm going to leave some flyers here. Please take a few of the flyers, hand them out to your friends, your loved ones, colleagues, anyone that you know might have a small business that might be struggling in one way or the other. No business is too small or too large. Our goal is to make it a better business and come up with realistic solutions that we can help you implement so that you can see those changes. All right. Now, we've been fortunate enough to leverage some relationships with people we know in the banking community, as well as some federal dollars, so that we don't have to charge our small businesses. I bill out at $125 an hour.
Right.
I'm billing somebody.
Right.
I'm just not billing you. And I love the fact that I'm able to work with businesses who need our services the most.
Right.
So I have some flyers here. Again, my name is Don Eric Black. You can go to our website. I'll make sure that everybody has a few. But we want to attract those small businesses so we can help them be better businesses, and make more money at the end of the day, because entrepreneurship, that's really what it's about identifying a problem and solving that problem. So thank you very much for your time. If you need anything, please let me know, and hopefully we'll be able to help move that meter within our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don Eric. Do we have any questions about employment or small business development? I know Reverend McCory has a question.
I want to make sure, I think it's important that everybody has the access to information so we know how to contact who we need to contact to go further. Because this is an important issue. Economic development is key to the health of our community. And I just want to make sure everybody knows how to get a hold of you guys so that we can be able to go from here. We know Wesley, we know it well, and thank God it's in good hands. But we want to make sure that we stay connected.
Thank you very much. I'm going to repeat Reverend McCory's question. He said access to the information is so very important. How do they get connected to Wesley Community Center? They know that. They know the Wesley Community Center. How do they get connected to the Dayton Chamber Minority Business Partnership, Minority Business Assistance Center at the City of Dayton, and the Miami Valley Community Action Partnership, and the Small Business Development Center? We have flyers available that provides the information for all of them, but in the event that you are viewing this presentation, this conversation really, on television, we want to make sure that you go to those websites. Just Google Minority Business Development. Minority Business Assistance Center will pop up. The Minority Business Partnership will pop up. Go to the Dayton Chamber, go to the website. You'll see my face. You'll see Minority Business Partnership. Go to the Wesley Community Center website, Miami Valley Community Action Partnership. We were in a presentation a couple of weeks ago, and someone said, well, nobody knows about you. And we said, how can that be? With technology today, just Google us and start calling, dialing. I get calls every day from people saying, I heard about you, or I looked on the website, got your number, can you help me? So in addition to the flyers and business cards we have today, please use technology or just call the Dayton Chamber. If you're able to reach one of us, we are so connected. We talk every day, either via email, face-to-face meetings, or we're working together with clients on a regular basis. So if you know where the Wesley Community Center is and you go in and talk to Yvette, Yvette has a direct line to Belinda, Roshan, and Don Eric, and our other partners as well. When we talk about access to capital, we work with the county. There is a wonderful grant, and we have been trying to get the word out. You can get, a business can get up to $25,000 to support your business. And when we talk to people and they said, oh, we don't know about it, it's not for me. No, it is for you. The county commissioners, the county, they want to make sure that that money is distributed in our region, in our county, to support businesses. And they have a real focus on minority, women, disadvantaged businesses. So please spread the word for us. Everybody go out and tell somebody about the services that we have for employment and small business development. One other question. Yes.
Does that apply to nonprofits as well?
At the moment, it is for for-profit organizations, but we have been talking about not-for-profit organizations. The micro-enterprise grant is just for for-profit organizations. It's not for not-for-profit organizations.
Many of our historic nonprofits are getting away from nonprofits and becoming LLCs. Do they qualify?
As a for-profit.
As a for-profit, they do in fact, okay.
Okay, I looked at my expert, Don Eric, and he said yes. The question was, many of our not-for-profit organizations are forming LLCs. Would they qualify? And Don Eric says yes, they would.
Since he brought up that issue, Will you help nonprofit transition into a for-profit? Can you do that?
Absolutely. We will sit down and have that conversation with you. And if we can't help you transition from a not-for-profit, we have lots of folks in our community that we're connected to that we can get the assistance that you need, and probably a lot of legal assistance to go from not-for-profit to a profit status. Yes, sir.
Do you know of any programs for helping nonprofits like start one up, funding, possibly?
Don Eric, you want to take that?
One of our best resources is the library. They have a lady on staff who can help you get your nonprofit started. She's really good. Her name's Casey right now, but if you go to the Dayton Metro, if you go to the Dayton Metro Library website, there's a specialist on there that can assist you in giving you everything that you need to get your nonprofit started. And she's free, so that's important.
It's so important as we talk about these services. Don Eric said it earlier, free. These services are free of charge. They're funded by the state, the city, by large corporate organizations in this community. So please, please, never say, I can't afford to do my business plan, or I don't know where to get started. There are so many resources in our community that we have to take advantage of. One last question.
Yeah, just one question. One of the things that seems to exist needed for a very growing and powerful business model in entertainment when it comes to the city of Dayton is the entertainment assistance with small business and African American community. We're seeing venues blowing up in the city. We got African American entertainers and people in the entertainment field that don't have any assistance in formulating a business model in entertainment. I don't know if you have that available, but that needs to be addressed. We got people, my son playing, but we got big things in entertainment here, and we have to go for billions of dollars. So that needs to be addressed in our community because we send people out there blind and they become basically slaves to an industry that's making millions and millions.
And I agree with you 100% because what I tend to do is try to silo a business person. When I look at someone like your son, for instance, entrepreneur, technician, manager, where does he fit? He's the technician. So it's important for him to surround himself with people who know the business side. And a lot of times when that label gets a hold of them, they're providing all those services and we know who they're serving. They don't have the best interest of your son. They are looking at him as a dollar sign and they will ring him until they can't get anything else out. So it's important for you as dad or him as son to pick up the phone, call one of us so that we can get him the business savvy that he needs so that he can last in that industry a long, long time. We provide that service. And I'll give you my business card before we get out of here. Have him call me. If you want to call me, I'd be more than happy to set up a meeting with you, get you into one of our programs so that I can provide that service to you for free. All I need you to do is sign up. All right?
Okay, thank you very much. I want to thank Yvette and Don Eric, and thank you, Brother Steve, too.
Thank y'all.
Let's give it up once again for our beautiful presenters, Sister Belinda Stinson, Sister Yvette Kelly Fields, and Brother Don Eric Black. And now what we want to do is, once we get our business started, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that there were three things that we were not taught: male-female relationship, business, and warfare. And when you start a business, you need to know how to protect your business, particularly in a capitalistic society. We are happy to bring forth one of our brothers who is a warrior. He deals with so many issues, mass incarceration, police brutality, and he's traveled all over the world, worked with powerful leaders on the international and national level. And so please give my brother a warm round of applause, a brother who has been through the fiery furnace of affliction, just like all men of God, and has come through in shining and blazing glory. Please give a warm round of applause to our brother, Reverend Jerome McCory.
Hey, I was looking around to figure out who Brother Steve was introducing. Hotep, Abargani, Assalamu alaikum. Praise God. Shalom. No matter how you say it, the issue that we're going to talk about for a few minutes is what faith to the fight looks like. What is the role of faith? In the midst of all that we're going through, where's our black faith leaders? Where do they stand and why are they not on the front lines where they belong? And we're going to take a few minutes and talk about that, but whenever I'm back home, I spend a lot of time. I got a 92, 93-year-old mama that's still here, so I got to spend time in Dayton. But the organization that we founded here to deal with mass incarceration and ex-offender reentry, the Adam Project, continued to grow and became something that I never expected it to become. For those of you, no matter your discipline, who are faith believers, oftentimes the Most High will increase your territory when you forgot to ask for the increase. If you do the right things. If you can be trusted over a few things, I will make you ruler over a lot of things. The organization thanks in part to people like Michelle Alexander, author of The New Jim Crow, Dr. Cornel West, Brother Jamal Joseph, one of the original Panther 21. These are folks who got in our ear, who brought a message of what it meant to increase the work that we engage in. And so our organization nationally became known and is known as the National Congress on Faith and Social Justice. Now, in order for us to go forward and give you a full understanding of what we're talking about, let me give a working definition of faith, because we get confused. For folk that are mostly in the Christian church, there's a belief that faith has to always be about Christianity. Nothing could be further from the truth. If we felt that way, the organization would be called the Christian Conference on Faith and Social Justice. But it's not. It's the National Congress on Faith. Because whether you are Muslim, whether you call yourself Hebrew or Christian or Jewish or anything else, the truth is, here's how we use faith. Your faith may be an Imani faith, a faith in your people, a faith that starts with yourself. So when we talk about faith in that context, we're talking about everybody. The National Congress is not a nonprofit. No. We are an LLC. I've gotten so far away from nonprofits, I can't tell you how important it is that we have organizations that are not-for-profit.
That's right.
First of all, here's what I discovered, Brother Steve, when I was at the Adam Project.
Yeah.
Folks ain't gonna give you no money, no how, when you on the front line.
Right.
So why be a nonprofit if all they get out of it is a tax write-off, and they're not giving you anything to sustain your organization?
So true.
But it took Michelle Alexander, some of y'all remember her, author of The New Jim Crow. Michelle Alexander pulled me aside. We brought her here to Dayton when her book was first released, before the University of Dayton even knew who she was, to bring her back a second time. Brother Steve, you were there.
Right.
We brought her here.
That's right.
And she pulled me aside and she said this to me. She said, Reverend, why do you have a nonprofit? And I had to think for a minute. So I gave the patent answer. Right. Well, you know, folks get a tax write-off, you know, when they give you funds. She said, now, question 2. How many of them folk giving you money? That's right. And that was my response. I just smiled. Right. I said, well, no. She said, then why be a nonprofit? Because then you're controlled by the state. They tell you where you can get money from, what you can speak out on. You can't endorse candidates. That's what's wrong with most of our churches. You can't endorse political candidates. Why be a nonprofit? And so we started the National Congress as an LLC because it gives us greater leverage, especially within our own community. But real quick, we're going to go to questions and answers in just a second. I want to talk about then what our role is, because I think the black church, we look around, ain't no preachers here beside me, I think to some degree the church has lost its mind. It has certainly lost its purpose. It has lost its purpose, or it would be here listening to these kinds of talks. Right. But let me quote a scripture, because I don't want nobody to go back to the church and say that preacher didn't even take a scripture. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Folk have been coming for years to the traditional black church. We used to find relief when we came there. There was some years ago, in days past, when the clarion call and when the mission of the black church was simple, and it was twofold. It was number 1, to provide hope for those souls that were longing for a place to belong, basically looking for grace and mercy, but it also functioned as an oasis for all of the issues that affected folk in the black community. Why do you think during the civil rights era, it was the black church? And I don't care whether you look at the black church, if you look at it righteously, I'm including Brother Malcolm and Brother Martin. Right. The truth is, globally, I'm including Nelson Mandela. These were folk who understood the function and the role, no matter what your belief system was, and the responsibility that we had to the community. Right. Brother Steve, one of the questions I get all the time when I address clergy groups across the country is why young folk don't come to church no more. And don't ask me a question you don't want to know the answer to. I've finally figured out it's better to be honest and just tell folk it's because y'all ain't relevant no more. This millennial generation has what we didn't have. They can Google a sermon if that's all they want to hear. They can Google some good gospel singing. They can turn on Erica's show in the morning and she comes out of an Atlanta station while sitting at home in Los Angeles and plays some good gospel music, does some wonderful interviews. They don't even have to come to church to get that no more. And so when you take away the fact that no longer is the church addressing the issues that affect us the most, you have taken away the reason most black folk used to come to church. Let me tell you, dealing with mass incarceration. Do you know what used to keep a lot of our people from getting locked up for petty stuff? The black preacher would show up in court with you. Right. And you didn't have to go to church. Grandma went. Right. Granddaddy was a deacon. And even though the pastor didn't know you personally, just because you was connected, he would show up and the judge would look at it, trying to stay in grace, because here's what you better remember. Politics is important. We elect judges. And judges did not want to pastor against them at election time. And so they stopped giving time to certain folk and gave them breaks based on who's in the courtroom. Not only can you not get a pastor preacher to go to the courtroom with you, you got to pay him to have a funeral in his church. Come on, brother. Come on. We're in bad shape. Yes, we are. We're in terrible shape. And the very reason that black folk are no longer flocking is because we've lost our relevance. I said this, and I know the gospel preachers didn't want to hear it, Brother Steve. They said, well, they say that Islam is the fastest growing faith group in America. I said it is, and there's a reason for it. One of the bishops looked at me kind of cross-eyed. I don't think his eyes were always that way. He just gave me a look. And he said, what are you talking about? I said, first of all, the brothers are inclusive of everybody. I don't care what they say you did. I don't care what your background is. The brothers have a system of repentance. They have a system of penance, and they have a system of acceptance. I've been there. I know what I'm talking about. I said the brothers will wait for you at the gate outside the prison with a nice, clean, freshly pressed suit, a white shirt. They used to have a bow tie on them, and they welcomed you coming out of the gate. The church ain't there. Here's what the church does do. We think we're doing our part because we show up at prison and want to preach, lay hands on folk. Is we don't have a program prepared for people to come. We tell you can come home again, but we're not prepared for you. And I realized it at a church here in Dayton, where I went as the speaker. And down by the kitchen area, you remember Candace? Down by the kitchen area was a bulletin board. And on that bulletin board were postcards with pictures of local folk who were getting ready to get out of prison. And they had their pictures hanging up as if to say, beware of these men. Beware of these women. They're coming home from prison. How in the world? I kind of equated to the little girl who spent a week with grandma. And when Sunday morning came around, grandma got up early to prepare to go to church, and she was mumbling. And she said, I'm so sick and tired, got to get up and go down here, and the preacher ain't keeping it as fresh as he used to.